Hey friends, Devin here with Backcountry Exposure. Today we're talking about budget-focused backpacking tents. The Perea Outdoor Products Zion one-person and the Featherstone Backbone two-person trekking pole tent. We're gonna spend tonight in the Zion one-person, and then tomorrow night we're gonna dig into the Backbone from Featherstone and just share why these are good options at under $200. What I like about the Zion one-person tent, which is a tent that I actually have several years of experience with. I've had it since, roughly 2016, 2017, something like that. This tent is just an awesome value for what you get from it. It's got a fully rectangular floor. It's 37 inches wide for the floor for a one-person tent. It doesn't have the tallest peak height of all the tents. It's less than 40 inches, but at a price point of $159, this is kind of a steal. You've got a fully freestanding tent that goes up super quick. You've got 2 doors and 2 vestibules. So let's finish getting this set up and then we'll talk about it some more. But let's talk about some dimensions and specs of the Perea Zion one-person here real quick. This is a one-person tent that uses a 20 denier ripstop nylon outer fly with a 3,000 millimeter hydrostatic head. The floor uses a 40 denier nylon, so super burly. It's gonna last a long time, and it has an included footprint with it. So really nice value, again, at that $159 price point. You've got a width, like I said earlier, of 37 inches for one-person tents. Plenty of room for wide pads and long pads because it's 83 inches in length. Your peak height is 36 inches, so it's not as tall as some other one-person like trekking pole style tents, but this is fully freestanding. So you've got a lot of living space inside of the tent, which is really nice. On either end of the tent, you've got these vents that they do have mesh up in here, so they're not going to allow a lot of air movement through, but it is going to help with that airflow to reduce the amount of condensation. Now, this is a double-walled tent, so you don't have to be super concerned about condensation. But you do have pretty decent sized vestibules. They're not the best, most roomy vestibules, but because it's got 2 doors and 2 vestibules, plenty of space to put all of your gear. Well, good morning to you. I had a fantastic night of sleep here in the Zion tent. And let's talk about the weight of the tent here, because that's something I feel like people are gonna pay a lot of attention to. They want to have the lightest shelter possible. And maybe that's the biggest downside to this tent here. It's at just over 4 pounds for the entire package. So 68 ounces is the weight that I get on my scale. That includes everything, all the stakes, the pole repair sleeves, the footprint, everything. You can break it down and reduce some of that weight by removing the footprint, using less stakes. And if you're going out just occasionally and you don't want to spend a lot of money on a tent, then this is a really, really nice option. But if trying to save as much weight as possible is what you're trying to achieve, this may not be the best option because you're over 3 pounds for a one-person tent. Now, when it comes to the Zion, it's just a fantastic option at a really good price point that is gonna perform well. It's gonna last you many years of time. And what I like about Perea, now I've been using their products for 7 or so years, and they're just a great company that takes care of their customers. Like, they have a limited lifetime warranty with their products that if there's anything manufactured defect wise, they're gonna take care of you. And you're gonna pay a little bit more money for this tent than maybe the same design from something else you find on Amazon. But that benefit is if there's issues with the tent, Perea is gonna help you with that because they're a US-based brand and they're just great in that way. All right, evening is making its way here, and I've got the Featherstone Backbone two-person single wall tent set up for my night of sleep tonight. And this is a really cool option under $200. You've got a 20 denier nylon fly for the whole entire body for the floor as well. And the overall shape of this tent is really interesting too. It's kind of offset in that the poles are closer to the head end of the tent. So it does have a dedicated head end and foot end, but that makes it so that when you sit up, that peak height is really, really high, and it keeps that fabric off of your face as well, as opposed to being that traditional style of A-frame that you see from a lot of trekking pole tents, where it's the same shape and slope down from side to side, and so you end up with fabric in your face. But you've got a nice height here at the foot end as well that gives enough space for condensation buildup and such to not transfer as easily onto your sleeping bag. But dimensions for this tent, you are 84 inches of length, and then you are 50 inches at the head end and 43 at the foot end. So two 25-inch wide pads are not going to fit in this tent, but you do end up with plenty of space for one person in making this a one-person palace, essentially. You can absolutely get two people in here, and two 20-inch pads are going to fit in here no problem. You have a peak height of 47 inches. That is a very, very tall tent for a trekking pole tent. You also have some pretty large wall panels that can very easily become a sail in the wind. So pitching this tent in the correct direction of the wind to make sure that you're not ending up with this just getting destroyed by heavy winds. Namely, this big panel on the foot end of the tent here. And I do have this guy line here set up, coming up over a stick like this, and then down to the ground. And that is helping bring the body of the tent up a little bit and then down to the ground, but it's not pulled super tight. So there's a little bit of give here so that in a windstorm, it's going to handle that wind just fine, but it also allows for a bit more living space in the tent that way with it set up this way. A couple other features you got going on with the Backbone are that you've got two doors, two vestibules, and compared to the Perea Outdoor Products Zion that we've already talked about today, the vestibule size on this tent is much larger, which is nice. It just makes it easier to put all of the gear that you would need. If you have two people in this tent, you've got the space for your backpacks and such. You've also got dual peak vents. These don't open up very much, and you do have a mesh panel up in here as well. So that mesh, just like the Perea, it's not going to allow as much air movement through the tent. So this is a tent where you've got to be very mindful of your site selection and what the conditions are so that you can try to handle and manage condensation as much as possible. You'll notice as well that the fly does come up an angle from the ground a bit here, and it's even steeper on the back side of the tent where you've got a lot of airflow right at the head end of the tent. So you've got the opportunity for good airflow from the head end into the tent, and hopefully it comes out through the vents through the top. Now, as far as weight's concerned, the Backbone two-person has a weight of 3 pounds, 2 ounces. So yes, it is more weight than many other trekking pole tents out there, but this is a really nice price point, and you get a very roomy two-person size tent for a respectable weight, in my opinion. So then inside of the tent here, you've got all of the features that you would want to make this as livable and enjoyable as possible. You've got that huge peak height. I'm like pretty off of the center of the tent here, and you can see that my head is not even coming close to the top of the tent, which is really nice. You've got these big mesh panel doors here. This is going to provide as much ventilation as possible, as well as the mesh panel here at the head end of the tent. You've got big, huge pockets here on either side, and some hooks up at the top that allow for you to hang a clothesline, some lantern, flashlight, whatever you need when you're out on a trip. What's also nice about this is everything is seam taped. It's all taped, everything, which is really nice to see. So I'm gonna enjoy my night in this tent, and then in the morning, we'll wrap this up and let you know how it goes. Well, another beautiful morning and a great night of sleep. I like the Backbone. This is a really cool trekking pole tent that just has so much living space in it. I like it. It's got all of the features that you want out of a high quality, good tent at a really nice price point. Well, there you go. 2 high quality backpacking tents under $200. Let me know down in the comments which one you like better and you would like to have for yourself. I've got links for them down in the video description. But thanks for watching today, guys. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you know what to do. Hope you have an awesome day. We'll catch you on the next one. See you later.